Hi, and welcome to Lesson 6, Step 2, Multi-Panel Photo Prints. What is a multi-panel photo print? Well, it's when one photo is split into multiple sections and these are hung next to each other. You can see an example hanging behind me in this beautiful photo by Laura Fink that is split across 3 prints. It's stunning, right? Well, this beyond the ordinary print option gives you so many ways to get creative. You're gonna love it. Hanging 2 or 3 pieces together is a visual technique that's actually been around for hundreds of years and is found in art museums around the world. They're known as diptychs when they're with 2 parts, or triptychs when they're with 3 parts, like the one behind me. But of course, you could split a photo into many more prints. So, how do you make one of these cool multi-panel photo prints with your own great photos? First, just like for a collage or really anything you want to hang on the wall, you need to know which photo you'd like to hang. And second, how much space do you want it to take up on your wall? Because you're going to be hanging more than one print together as a sort of series, you'll want to measure the total space that you have and then figure out how to split it up. For this space, I knew I had about 280 centimeters total to play with. So I wanted a multi-panel photo prints that would together fit in that space. I did a bit of calculating and I decided on these 2 60 by 90 centimeter photos and this one 135 by 90 centimeter photo. Adding those up, that gave me a total of 255 centimeters if the photos were hung exactly next to each other, or 265 because I wanted to add 5 centimeters of space between the photos. Once you have a good idea of which photo you want to hang and the size and number of panels that you want to split it into, it's time to move over to Photoshop. Now, if you don't have Photoshop, I recommend Googling split photo or split image. There are a number of online services that can help you with that. In Photoshop, we're going to make a group clipping mask in the layout of the photo panels that we want to print, and then use that to create the individual photos that you'll order and then hang on your wall. I promise it's not as complicated as it sounds, and you're going to be really glad that you learned this technique. It is super useful. Your first step in Photoshop will be to make a new document. You want to set the document size so that it's actually larger than the photos that you want to make. Since I had 280 centimeters of space on my wall to use for the photos, I'm going to go ahead and make my document 280 centimeters wide by 115 centimeters high so that I have space to get creative. I'm also going to set the resolution to 150 to make sure it's high enough. Next, you want to go into the Tool panel and select the Rectangular Marquee tool. We're going to use that to make the shapes of the photo panels. Since I know the size of the panels I want to have, I'll go up to the Style and then scroll down to Fixed Size and set the dimensions I want. I'm going to start with the 60 by 90 centimeters, so I'll put those figures in. We're going to be making each photo panel as its own layer, so you need to first make a new layer and then click on your image. Voila! The size and shape that you defined will simply appear. And to make it visible, I'm going to make the foreground a bright red color and then use Alt and Backspace to fill in the color. Since I want 2 panels that are 60 by 90 centimeters, I'll do Control or Command D, depending on if you're a PC or a Mac, to deselect, and then I'll make a new layer using the Control or Command J. You can use the Marquee tool and Fixed Size to make all of the photo panel shapes that you need. So I need to make my third one, the 135 by 90 centimeter rectangle. So I'll do that by setting the size and then making a new layer and then simply clicking to create it. Oh, great. I'm not going to worry about using grid lines to lay these out perfectly, but I do want them to be aligned so that the photo will be straight. So to do that, I first need to switch to the Select tool and then make sure that Snap is turned on by going to View and then scrolling down to Snap. Then, to make sure that the panels are evenly spaced and have the same amount of distance between each one, you select one of the layers and move it closer to the other one. If the snap is on, you'll notice that the pink lines will appear, and these will tell you how much space there is between the panels. Move each panel so that there is the same amount of space between each one. Then select all the layers with your photo panels and shapes. And then from the top toolbar, click Align Vertical Centers. And suddenly, all your photos will be aligned in a perfect line. Align Vertical Centers is the second one from the left. If you hold your mouse over it, it will actually be labeled Align Vertical Centers. This is the layout of your photo prints without your beautiful photos. So now it's really time for the fun part. Group all the layers together. By selecting them all, you can hold down the Shift key and then select the top one and the bottom panel layer. Then click on the Create New Group button. It's at the bottom of the Layers tab. Or you can use a shortcut, Control or Command G for Group. Now you simply want to drag your beautiful photo into this image and position it roughly above your shapes. In the Layers tab, make sure the image layer is directly above the Shapes group so that it's in the right position for a clipping mask. And remember, photos are more important, so they always go above the layer that they're going to be clipping to. Now either right-click and scroll down to Create Clipping Mask, or put your cursor directly over the photo in Layers and hold down Alt and then click with your mouse. Ta-da! The photos will be split over the separate panels. Select the photo layer and drag it until it's positioned exactly how you want your photo to look on the wall. Beautiful. But how do we go from this to separate photos that we can print? Well, actually, that's the easiest part. If you think you want to use this Photoshop file again as a template or to make more multi-panel photos, take time now to save it as a Photoshop file. Once you're ready for the last step, click on the small icon to the far right of the Layers tab and choose Flatten Image. This will convert all the layers into a flat background image, which is what you want. Okay, we're almost done. Next, go over to the File in the navigation menu and scroll down to Automate. You want to choose an ingenious function called Crop and Straighten Photos. This tells Photoshop to select and separate the images in that document. Each panel will be automatically named and opened as its own image. Each part of your multi-panel photo display will appear as a separate photo in the exact dimensions that you chose when you made it. So here you can see that I now have 3 new photos. 2 that are 60 by 90 centimeters and 1 that's 135 by 90 centimeters. It's amazing, right? Each of these is now ready to be uploaded, printed, and hung on your wall. Congratulations! I hope you're as excited to experiment and get creative with your photos as I am. In step 3, we're going to look at yet another beyond the ordinary photo option for photos on the wall. Awesome photo grids. It's going to be awesome. I'll see you there.